There are things older than gods that live in the dark between the worlds. Every 300 years, they... Thorvald Ironvale. He had held Stormgate Fortress for 14 years.
He had felt it since midday. The animals on the mainland had gone silent 3 hours before sunset.
It moved like spilled ink. It absorbed every light source in the landscape.
Not yet.
The demon horde will reach the bridge in 4 hours. We will not fight them on the bridge. We will not fight them in the courtyard. The demons feed on darkness and cold. Sacred lightning is neither. It is heat and light compressed into hours. 60 warriors. 3 rings of iron conductors. 3 sacred lightnings 3 feet deeper. The lightning needs to reach the stone below, not just the surface rock. He had designed the thunder trap 7 years ago, after the last demon tide. The bridge stays intact. If we destroy it and the lightning trap fails, we have no retreat and no reinforcement path.
The storm is 3 hours away. Maybe 2.5.
The sacred lightning stones had been carved by the storm priests of the old faith, 300 years before Thorvald. It has already been receiving the storm's signal. The resonance is building. When the storm... The demon horde and the storm were arriving from opposite directions. The fortress was between them. They came at full dark, as they always came. 12 minutes to the bridge at their current pace. The storm needs to arrive before they reach the cliff edge. Forces converging on one fortress. A demon horde from the north. Now the second stone. Hold.
The lightning wall! Activated!
The wall worked. The sacred fire was real. The demons could not...
The wall is holding. Now we need to hold the bridge approach long enough for the full horde to reach the wall.
Hold! Runes on his hammer.
He had not panicked in 22 years of combat. He was not going to begin now. The bridge approach was the funnel. The warriors were the walls of the funnel. The sacred lightning wall at the cliff edge. Is the priority. The line breaks, everything breaks. He knew this at 32. He knows it at...
The wall held. Every demon that reached it was repelled. The sacred fire was consuming their darkness faster than they could reform.
Tighten the line! 20 feet back! Move now! Hold this line. Don't move again. Unless I say. They are looking for the conductor connections. If they find chain links between the rods and the stones and break them... The Commander-class demon had existed since before the Norse world had names for anything. In that existence, he did not move toward it because he was sure he could defeat it alone. 47 years old, carrying a hammer he had swung 10,000 times, walking towards something that had... Behind him, the warrior captain reinforced all 3 conductor stone connections simultaneously, adding 3 war... The hammer didn't kill it. It would. 2 steps back. The only 2 steps back he had taken in the entire battle. He made them count. 20 seconds. He counted internally. His body maintained that while his mind ran the clock. 14. He saw it coming. He had been waiting for it.
He traded blows with something older than the Norse world. The armor held, the hammer landed, and the conductor connections had been reinforced.
The connections are reinforced. All 3. The circuit is secured. Good. He stood up. That was all. He stood up and he didn't stop looking at the demon. The Commander-class demon was assessing its options. Its direct strike had failed to do. He walked toward it again. The wall was at its peak. The wall has expanded, 40 feet wider than the original plan. Move the line! All warriors! He used the storm's gift. The unexpected expansion of the wall gave 30 feet of new killing ground that hadn't existed. The wall burned through them. The sacred fire of 3 ancient stones, fed by the greatest storm. He watched them dissolve. He had built this trap 7 years ago in his mind. He had built it in... The Commander-class demon made the decision that ancient intelligence always makes when the cost of the
trap. The warrior line was not just holding the Horde back, it was the other jaw of the trap. The wall was the first jaw, the line was the second.
The commander dissolved, and with it core, the connection that held the individual demons to their purpose.
Without the commander, the Horde was individuals again. Individual demons, faced with a They retreated the way they had come. The darkness that had consumed the landscape northward within as he breathed out. Just once. Then he turned to assess the damage. 38 warriors.
22 lost.
The wall held. The circuit held. The bridge held. He checked them all. Not as a commander checks his assets. As a man who knows each of them by name checks the people he is responsible for. The storm that had been their weapon was leaving. The wall would fade with it. But the demon horde had already... The sacred lightning wall lasted 4 hours and 7 years. It was worth building. He let them do their work. He did not give orders about it. They knew what needed doing. He had trained them well. He had carried that hammer since he was 25. It had been etched by the same storm priests who carved the lightning stones. He had watched the sun come up after every battle he had survived. He had done it deliberately, for 22... The settlement had watched the sacred lightning wall through the night from the inland side of the bridge. They had seen the light. He was 47-year-old. He had one more battle in him, probably. Maybe 2. The stones need to be returned to the temple for recharging. The conductor rods stay in place. The chains should be inspected for any heat damage from...
The morning after, he had been awake for 28 hours. He did not sleep. He would sleep when the assessment was complete.
Eric. He named all 22. He had known all 22 for years. He had trained most of them himself.
He walked the bridge in the morning. He always walked the battle perimeter in the morning. He had learned this at 26 and never stopped.
He had one more thing to do before he slept. The Storm Priest record at the temple needed to be updated with the night.
The temple was older than the fortress by 200 years. It would take 3 months for the stones to return to full charge. He would have the conductor inspection.
He added a record, next to his previous 17 inspection records, if 3 storm readings.
He carved "rebuild" as the final word of the record. Not because it was required, because the person who
28 hours awake, a night-long battle, a dawn assessment, a bridge walk, a temple record. One more thing. He ate was the final thing. The record was made, the stones were returned. He slept for 4 hours. Then he woke up and went back to work.
3 days after, the work continues.
The storm priests who survived in the surrounding highlands have been contacted. He would check the horizon every morning. He had done it for 14 years. He would continue, not from fear.
Stormgate Fortress. The morning after. Everything standing. Everything that needed to be standing. Now, let's understand exactly how the Sacred Lightning Wall worked, and why Thorvald Ironvale. The demon horde feeds on darkness and cold. It cannot cross concentrated sacred fire. It cannot sustain form inside.
Step 1. The storm. Lightning is energy in its most raw form. Electrical charge moving between sky and ground.
Step 2. Stones. The stones. Raw lightning cannot form a wall.
Step 3. The demon form organized dials.
The wall and the line worked together. The wall was the fire jaw of the trap. The line was the iron jaw.
The geometry of the trap is now clear. The warrior line forms a funnel, guiding the demon.
I addressed it directly, as a distraction, to give the warrior captain time. That was not bravery. That was arithmetic.
The Sacred Lightning Wall drew on real, documented Norse knowledge. The Norse understood iron conductivity from generations of forge work.
The Sacred Lightning Wall drew on real, documented Norse knowledge. The Norse understood iron conductivity from
Thorvald Ironvale. Age, 47 years old. Hair, long dark gray streaked with white.
a fortress on a cliff above the sea. A trap built in iron and stone.
Two weeks after, the reconstruction complete, the system inspected, the names carved, the stones in the temple, recharging on the Storm Priest schedule. The inspection was the legacy. Every check he ran on the conductor system was a contribution to the record that would help
The activation record reached the other coastal fortresses within 4 days. They had maintained their own conductor systems for decades without ever activating them. He wrote for 3 hours. Everything that had been implicit in his 7 years of planning became explicit in the letters.
I'll show you the conductor system first, then the stones in the temple. Then I'll walk you through the battle geometry. It will take...
He spent 4 hours showing her everything. The positions of the rods, the reason for the chain geometry.
One soon.
When the wall expanded beyond the planned perimeter, how did you respond tactically?
Immediately. You advanced the... This entry says a partial activation was attempted but failed.
The storm was insufficient. The storm has to be direct. He knew every record on this wall by heart. Every commander.
Thank you for the full account.
The letters were valuable. This was more valuable.
Your system differs from ours in the stone configuration.
The new normal. 38 warriors from 60. The system rebuilt and ready. The stones recharging. The record complete.
Your job is not to stop what comes across the bridge. Your job is to redirect it. Sideways is where we want them. Again.
The runes on the hammer are the reason the upward arc works on a demon form. The strike needs to travel through the demon's center, not across the surface.
The months that followed, the system rebuilt, the warriors trained, the stones recharging. He tested the system in every major autumn storm. The storm was the weapon. He had been doing this check in autumn storms for 12 years. He would do it for as long as he commanded storm. Full charge. Record it.
The darkness is at its longest tonight. It will not be longer than tonight. From here, the light returns. He had lived on this cliff for 14 years. The sea below, the mainland behind.
The ice will crack the chain links if it's allowed to build. Clear it every morning in winter.
He watched every winter lightning strike that hit the conductor rods. Not to activate the wall, to verify the system.
By the end of his first winter after the activation, his contributions to the record wall exceeded all previous entries. He checked the horizon every morning in spring, the same way he had checked it every morning in winter and autumn and summer. Every morning, every rod, every chain connection, every stone charge indicator.
From the sea, the fortress looks small. From the sea, the cliff looks smaller than the sky.
1 year, the stones recharged, the system maintained, the record extended. 22 names on the memorial wall. 48. The same man he was at 47. The same as he was at Fort. The years had added. The lesson of the Thunder Trap is not the technology. The technology is the means. The less than 7 year.
The record wall. 300 years of people doing the right thing every day without knowing why.
Summer at Stormgate. The most ordinary season at a fortress that had survived an extraordinary night.
The hammer was recharging. It would take 18 more months for the hammer runes to return to full charge.
I reconfigured the stone arrangement to the triangle position.
When?
6 months ago, after your letter about the flank coverage.
And?
He believed records should be read in the reader's own sequence and at the reader's own pace. An interpreted record.
How long between when you first observed the behavioral change and when you realized what it was looking for?
40 seconds.
How did you recognize it so quickly?
The solution is a secondary reinforcement bracket at each connection. I have the design. I'll send it with you.
I'll implement it.
So will I.
After Helga left, he stood at the cliff edge for a while. Not assessing. Not inspecting. Just standing.
He was 48. He would command Stormgate for another decade at least. Probably longer. After that, the
Stormgate Fortress at night. The ordinary dark of a clear night. No demon.
6 fortresses on the Norse coast. Each one with a thunder trap system. Each one now with... He sat on the cliff edge sometimes in the evenings. Not inspecting. Not assessing.
A fortress commander in the evening. The man under the armor and the planning and the 22 years of combat experience. He was still there. He always had been.
14 months after the activation. 60 warriors. Full conductor system.
Every check is a record. The record is more important than the inspector. The inspector changes. The record stays. The record continued, as it had continued for 300 years, with more entries now than before.
Bracket. Designed after the
Two springs after the activation. The system at its best state since the Storm Priests originally built it.
Better, actually. Better than its original state. He had proposed the combined review because one activation record was useful. 6 inspection records.
6 hours. Every system variant documented. Every design difference understood. Every improvement shared. 6 people who between them defended the entire Norse coastal cliff system. Standing at the cliff edge in the evening, looking north. He taught the same way he learned, directly, from the specific detailed, with nothing withheld. Whatever he knew that could help us. They left with more than they had arrived with. That was the correct result of a combined review.
The seasons passed. The inspections continued. The records accumulated. The warriors trained and were
2 years. He looked the same. He was better at his work than he had been at 48, because he had the activation record to build from.
Hold! Endure! The 2 words he had chosen when he was 28 and had them stamped in iron.
3 years after the activation. The fortress better than it was the night the Horde arrived. The coast better defended.
3 years after the demon horde, Thorvald Ironvale. Looking north every morning was the same man, the same cliff, the same hammer, the same eyes, the fortress better. A fortress on a cliff above the sea, built 200 years ago, maintained every day since.
Same fortress, better than before. The conductor rods permanent, the record complete. Hammer, 23 years, the runes at 85%. The hand that swings it folded, the same hand.
How Vikings defeated a demon horde using sacred lightning walls.
The stones, fully charged. 3 months to recharge after 4 hours and 17 minutes of use. Ready.
A record, 300 years. 1 activation. The knowledge for the next activation. Complete. Rods, improved. The brackets that the Commander-class demon's intelligence had been moving toward. Now there.
Hold. Endure. The 2 words. The 2 things. 22 names. Carved. Present.
His eyes, looking north. Every morning.
The bridge. Held. As he said it would.
The wall! 4 hours and 17 minutes. Long enough.
The commander dissolved. The horde followed. The trap worked.
38 standing from 6th. Everyone named. Everyone present.
He went to one knee. Then he stood back up. That was the whole story.
They withdrew. The darkness retreated. The mainland returned to ordinary night.
Dawn. After. The correct result.
Rebuild. The final word of the record. The first word of the next phase.
The knowledge led with her. To 5 more fortresses. The coast better defended.
6 commanders. 1 combined review. The coast's full collective intelligence in 1 room.
For the first time.
North Sea. Always there. Always the backdrop. The sea does not care about...
The brackets. Designed after the battle. Implemented before the next one. Midnight. The darkness ordinary. The wall ready if it is not ordinary. Both are required.
The morning check. Every day. The check is the fortress.
The settlement. The reason for the fortress.
Alive!
The record continues. New hands. Same format. Same purpose. The fortress through the seasons. The same in each one. Maintained in each one.
The stones, recharging, as they have been recharging for 300 years, ready when called.
A cliff edge. His position. Every morning. Until the next commander takes it. Then the next.
Six fortresses, 6 thunder trap systems, 6 record walls, 1 activation, improved all 6.
A cloak. In every wind. Every season. The same cloak.
Bridge at dawn. Empty. The correct state. The state that the lightning wall and the warrior line and the hammer and
The wall fading. The storm moved east. The wall had lasted as long as it needed to. That was always the plan.
The same man. 3 years later. Better informed. Exactly the same in every way that mattered.
Darkness came. As it had come before. As it will come again.
The first light. After the darkness. As it always comes. That is not metaphor. That is also engineering. He watched the sun come up. As he had after every battle he had survived.
From the sea, small, against the cliff, against the sky, not small against what it defeated.